transfer portal gets bigger and more important by the day. Welcome to the Voice of College Football, SEC. Please like the video, share the videos out on social media, and subscribe. Let people know that we are here discussing and debating, analyzing college football each and every day with you. And the transfer portal also gets crazier by the day. Consider that Max Johnson finished out his season by throwing the game-winning touchdown pass and leading the game-winning drive for the LSU Tigers against Texas A&M in their rivalry game in Death Valley, the last game of the season. And just a couple of weeks later, Max Johnson announces that he's transferring. Then there were some rumors out there and some confirmed reports to a certain extent that Max Johnson had decided to stay at LSU, and then poof, where's he go? Texas A&M. Max Johnson, the lefty to Texas A&M, pretty significant here. 60% passer, 2,800 plus yards, 27 touchdowns, 6 picks. Good TD to interception ratio, and of course, that game-winning drive, game-winning touchdown, and LSU can thank him partially, of course, for making it to a bowl game at 6-6 with the upset win against Texas A&M. And Max Johnson, basically, if you go game by game, and we know what the SEC Western Division schedule looks like in terms of quality opponents, it's unlike any other in college football. Max Johnson did not have a bad game. Did not even have a marginal game. Yeah, he had some games that weren't perfect, weren't scintillating, but considering all the issues at LSU and possibly a lack of development based on what was going on there, Max Johnson turned in a solid, really strong season. Compare his numbers to Zach Calzada, who, of course, started for Texas A&M after the injury to Haynes King against Colorado, that Calzada led the one-game, big game winner against Alabama with Texas A&M, but had some disappointing efforts. Consider this, that Zach Calzada had pretty much marginal games against these opponents. Arkansas, Mississippi State, Ole Miss, and Missouri, and South Carolina. So that's 5 SEC opponents in which he completed about 50% of his passes, slightly more, which is not a good figure in today's college football. 4 touchdowns and 5 picks for Calzada against those 5 SEC opponents, but led the game winner against Alabama at home, 31-28. 56% for Calzada compared to the 60+% for Max Johnson. 2,185 yards, 17 touchdowns, 9 picks, so not nearly the touchdown to interception ratio, 6.7 yards per attempt against LSU in that final game. Calzada in leading Texas A&M. Max Johnson with 3 touchdowns and no picks, 242 yards passing. Okay, Max Johnson has got to like this Texas A&M recruiting class, which included, late in the process, early commit, but late signee on National Signing Day, 5-star wide receiver Evan Stewart. And then he gets a 4-star that's being overlooked to a certain extent by many because of the stacks of 5 stars at Texas A&M with the number 1 recruiting class in college football. Chris Marshall, 7th-rated wide receiver in the country, according to 247 Sports. And how about the number 1 tight end in the country, Jake Johnson? Will they contribute in 2022? I would expect to a certain degree, but can they be relied on? Well, Texas A&M came into 2020, or the 21 season, with what was being considered one of the best wide receiver rooms in college football, and these guys generally disappointed. Now, Jalen Weidemeyer moves on to the NFL. Most likely it has yet to be announced, but Weidemeyer expected to opt out early to the NFL draft. 40 catches, 4 touchdowns. In the wide receiver portion of this unit, again, they were a bit disappointing. The numbers were down, and much was expected of them. Aeneas Smith is a tremendous talent, 47 catches, 6 touchdowns, but he's more of a hybrid running back. A guy that kind of moves around, I should say, in the slot, outside, very versatile player. Jalen Preston, Damon Demas, and Caleb Chapman only combined for 45 catches. So more production needed out of the wide receiver position, but that's a dependent position on the quarterback. How good is the quarterback to get the ball to the wide receivers? But drops and not necessarily spectacular play, and taking advantage of opportunities at the wide receiver position for Texas A&M. Max Johnson, LSU to Texas A&M. He will, of course, see the LSU Tigers in Kyle Field that final weekend of the season. Your thoughts about the transition from Calzada to Johnson. Haynes King, of course, will figure in, and there should be a competition for the job. So it's not necessarily Max Johnson's, although he has a large experience advantage. Your thoughts down in the comments section below. Please, again, like the video and share. Subscribe right here at the Voice of College Football, SEC.